What ties together these smallholder farmers? Motorcycles, call center, satellites, dairy cows, full-time employees, a fruit grove, shopping packages, homework, a cup of coffee, quite a number of mobile phones and much more. Financial inclusion and impact, as personified by this lady farmer.
Coffee farming is different in the way that it has improved my income, my source of income. My daughter is in one of the good schools in my district. The room I'm residing in, I was able to purchase a small panel of solar because of coffee. And the children are now happy, at least they see some light.
The premise that inspired impact like hers kicked off in 2014. People have always needed services that allow them to transform their livelihoods, develop better ways of managing their finances, earn an income, and reduce their vulnerability of falling into poverty traps.
Changamoto ya wakulima ni kukosa pesa ya fertilizer, kukosa pesa ya mbegu. Yani hiyo kazi hata ukiajiri watu 5 una pesa ya kuwapea, kukosa mvua, kulikuwa na sinda za kama uko na ng'ombe, hakuna kitu ya kukula.
The Mastercard Foundation Fund for Rural Prosperity was set up to tackle such challenges through selected partners.
When the Mastercard Foundation was set up in 2006, one of our founding goals was to help drive and deepen financial inclusion as part of our vision of a world in which everyone can learn and prosper.
The fund was set up to achieve 3 main objectives. Firstly, to improve livelihoods and income of smallholder farmers and build their capabilities to improve financial inclusion. Secondly, to enable financial service providers and agribusinesses to access financial products. The third objective is to promote systemic change by attracting other influential actors and innovation.
Using the Challenge Fund approach, the Mastercard Foundation Fund for Rural Prosperity selected and started supporting several private sector businesses across Sub-Saharan Africa from 2014.
A Challenge Fund essentially gives opportunity for these various organizations to compete for the funding by designing, developing compelling projects or interventions that are really strongly aligned to the objectives for which the fund has been set up.
The Fund for Rural Prosperity is a $50 million challenge fund designed to improve and extend financial inclusion to people living in rural Africa with a focus on smallholder farmers. The fund supported an innovative and diverse portfolio consisting of 38 participant projects operating in 15 countries in Sub-Saharan Africa. Through this portfolio, the fund is transforming lives by delivering better access to appropriate and affordable savings, credit, insurance, and transaction-based products and services.
So the fund has been very flexible in regards to the resources that can be provided as matching funds and their sources, and this includes capital injection from the participants, from financing from different financial institutions, and we have also accepted in-kind contribution from our participants.
For each of the funding rounds, the participants were selected using a set eligibility and selection criteria, which was vetted by an independent investment committee and approved by the Mastercard Foundation.
The fund is managed by KPMG International Development Advisory Services, together with its partners Triple Line Consulting and Nathan Associates. The initial goal of the fund was to transform 1 million lives in rural Sub-Saharan Africa.
Financial inclusion is a really important element of enhancing resilience in Sub-Saharan Africa. The fund then was conceptualized around financial inclusion so that the private sector organizations that we funded would then provide financial services and products to the underserved community who would essentially not be considered creditworthy.
From 2015, businesses were selected for their focus on developing ideas for new products, services, or processes that increase access to finance for rural people. Projects were also selected for their potential to scale up their most promising ideas to drive financial inclusion for large numbers of smallholder farmers and rural people in new geographic areas. The fund offered support through 5 key areas. 1. Innovation rounds. These were dedicated to organizations aiming to design, pilot, test, and launch new financial products and services. 2. Scaling rounds. These provided support for expanding proven ideas for financial products, services, or processes into new geographies or customer segments. 3. Rolling rounds. In these, high-potential applications unsuccessful in previous rounds could strengthen their proposals and re-enter before the next closing date.
But ultimately, we realized that there were lessons learned from both the innovation and the scaling projects, and based on some of our learnings, revised the competitions to include both innovation and scaling in a rolling manner. In that way, we were able to get more participants or more applicants to the fund and able to choose the best ones at the end of the day.
4. COVID-19 recovery and resilience support. This provided participants impacted by COVID-19 with access to top-up grants to adapt business operations to overcome accessibility challenges, continue service to rural communities, provide bridging finance to affected communities, particularly women and smallholder farmers, and support income retention for affected workers.
So when COVID-19 hit, one of the additional funds that they provided was to provide additional credit to farmers in Zambia. And we literally were so grateful for that, because within COVID, when a lot of businesses were closing down, here comes a fund that says, you guys have been consistent, you guys are doing what needs to be done in terms of reaching the farmers and de-risking farmers. Why don't we see how we can provide additional funding? And so we're very grateful for this particular, for MasterCard Foundation providing and seeing that we've been consistent and seeing our hard work, and at the end of the day, looking to benefit additional farmers.
In 2020, we gave all our clients a moratorium of 90 days for both principal and interest. No client was supposed to pay for a period of 90 days as a relief to ensure that we cushion them out of this COVID era.
The money is easy to get. Like when I have broiler in the farm and they are 35 days old and there is no market and my cash flow is down, I approach them, in only 2 days, I have my money in the bank.
5. Strategic investment support. This additional funding went to high-performing participants to leverage existing projects that create work opportunities for youth and support the growth of their value chains. 8 years later, our participants have catalyzed more change than originally expected. More than 5.3 million customers have been reached, 35% being women living in rural areas and 41% being younger customers under 35 years of age.
Wamama wanasaidika kwa kulima. Kukuwa na msaada kama huu sasa tunaupata kupitia Msoni, si ndio? Mwanamke akichukua pale ule msaada, aanzishe kitu. Tuseme pengine amefuga kuku ama amefuga mbuzi. Unaona sasa ile faida anapata pale itamfanya akaendelea.
Over 2.9 million beneficiaries have been supported by the participants with capacity building on awareness and use of the products and services.
We have a group of farmers who are able to meet us and give us training. The production has raised according to what I had in the beginning. Now I have better yields.
More than 171 new financial products and services have been launched by the participants.
In a world where there is a lot of e-commerce and technology has made commerce quite simple, we thought of how can we use those technologies, adapt it to the market and make it such that we can reach those customers and have them have the same access to goods as somebody who is sitting in a city somewhere. Of course, for the products that they need, farm products, fast-moving consumer goods, construction materials, which is why we ended up with an agent-based model where the agent serves as the person who introduces those customers to e-commerce, educates them, is an ordering point and a delivery point, and last but not least, aggregates all their orders so that the delivery makes sense from a cost perspective.
I was so happy because I didn't have to hustle paying the transport, or I didn't have to be here. So it was just delivered and I was told, Madam, the tank has come. I just told them, just pick it, it's mine. That's it.
Uzuri ya agent akiwa katika maeneo yangu, nikiletewa mali, nitaipata haraka. Hata ninaweza tuma mtu kama nimeshikika, akachukua hiyo mali, akanipelekea nyumbani.
Je pense qu'en plus de l'impact social créé par l'électrification des zones rurales, nous avons, grâce à la fondation Mastercard, contribué aussi à l'inclusion financière de notre cible, donc de ces populations rurales, parce qu'aujourd'hui, quand nous leur vendons les kits, derrière, nous leur proposons d'ouvrir des comptes de mobile money pour leur permettre de mettre leurs revenus dans ces wallets et de pouvoir faire leur rechargement. Nous incitons aussi notre force de vente, parce qu'il faut savoir que quand on va dans une zone, on essaie de recruter le maximum de jeunes dans ces localités pour qu'ils puissent faire le travail au niveau commercial.
Over 4,931 direct jobs have been created within the portfolio companies, with 78% being under 35 years of age and 38% being jobs for women.
With Mastercard Foundation and the funding that came with it, we were able to, one, reach out to the farmers a lot more. We were able to send out and use a lot more data, use a lot more technology. We had time to develop, and we had the resources to develop this technology so that we are able to collect a lot more data. We leverage on the data that we collect so that we can provide insights. But then also, as we impact the farmers, we are also able to employ youth within those communities.
À travers la plateforme digitale, Prosema assiste ces femmes et ces jeunes à s'enregistrer dans la plateforme comme étant des producteurs à part entière. Et ce qui, d'ailleurs, après beaucoup de sensibilisation auprès des familles, qui est une innovation dans la structure de la famille au Mali et particulièrement en milieu rural. Donc, du moment que ces femmes et ces jeunes sont enrôlés et qui sont constitués comme des producteurs, ils ont à partir de ce moment accès à des services qui leur permettent de mieux produire, autrement dit d'augmenter leurs sources de revenus, toutes choses qui contribuent à leur bien-être.
So in total we got $1 million and then another $1 million from the fund, and this will enable us to start our farmer services unit. So today we have 80 people that are below 35 years old that we recruited and that are supporting us with all the trainings to the farmers and all the other services that we bring to the farmer, and this is really thanks to the support of the Mastercard Foundation.
But beyond these numbers lie some very interesting lessons that everyone is taking to heart as they look forward to a more prosperous future.
The decent jobs will only be sustainable if they are anchored within these three pillars. Access to market for the farmer produce. 2, production. And 3, access to affordable financial services. These are the three pillars that drive a self-sustaining ecosystem, a self-sustaining economy, where you are able to have the local communities being able to participate.
Actually, most of our clients are owners of, smartphones. That is what came out, because when we talked to them that we can have online virtual meetings, everyone was saying it is fine. And based on our calculation, over 80% of our clients were able to access the smartphones. Some of which were able to say that they've accessed the smartphone because of partnering with Musoni, because of taking loan facilities that has empowered them financially, and are able to buy smartphones for themselves.
So the fund has supported its partners to innovate, to test new markets, and to test new business models. And that's really been one of the core aims of the fund, to really catalyze this kind of innovation and this kind of scaling. Some of this has been very successful. We have a number of partners who have exceeded all expectations in terms of growing, in terms of reaching new markets, in terms of the kinds of innovation that they've been able to achieve and commercial success that they've been able to achieve. Others have hit a few more challenges, and this is what we would expect in a fund like this. When you're funding innovation, you have to expect a degree of failure. And we've really tried very hard to learn from that failure. And I think our partners themselves have also learned from this failure. And this is really what the fund has been trying to achieve with its partners.
Inuka is going to continue investing in the agribusiness space. Increasing the agricultural footprint or space in Kenya will create a lot more opportunities for employment, sustainable employment. But more importantly is we have to feed the country. We really need to take food security very seriously. We cannot be dependent on other countries for the most fundamental things.
Really, right now, it's just we're in expansion mode. The Kenyan business is growing well. We launched Uganda last year. It's almost actually exactly a year now. And that's been growing phenomenal. So we are now comfortable that we can start to look at other markets outside of East Africa, and that's one of the key plans that we have. And the plan really at the end of the day is simply to make sure that we serve as many of our target demographic, our target customers as we can.
These accomplishments and expectations by participants are a vivid illustration that financial inclusion is a means to an end, not an end in itself, as ultimately millions of lives are being transformed directly and indirectly through the work.
We are continuing to learn from the Fund for Rural Prosperity about the power of digital technology to drive scale, inclusion and sustainability, about the multifaceted impact that access to financial services has, particularly on employment, and about what it takes to unlock opportunity in the agricultural value chain. We'll continue to integrate these insights into our work and seek to scale the kind of remarkable impact we've seen under this pioneering program across the entire region.
With all that the fund's participants have accomplished with their beneficiaries, a cup of coffee now means that a smallholder farmer is sending her children to a better school. That motorcycle means a businessman has expanded his business. That call center means more employed rural women. That cow means a child just got happier and healthier. That homework done at night in the light means better educational possibilities. That fruit grove means a bigger house. That satellite means a farmer gets a payout, and that phone means more stability and prosperity for the people of rural Africa.